It's time for Baby and Toddler Instructions with host Blythe Lipman. Blythe is a nationally renowned infant and toddler expert who has over 30 years' experience helping moms and dads regain their sanity, teaching them how to survive, and giving them the confidence they need to be the best parents ever. From sleeping to crying to potty training to choosing a preschool and so much more. If you're a parent, Baby and Toddler Instructions is the show you've been looking for. Now here's your host, Blythe Lipman.
Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are. I am very excited about my guest this morning. Dr. Linda Hawes-Clever, the author of The Fatigue Prescription, will be with us in just a bit. And we were going to be talking about keeping everybody healthy after the holiday, the letdown, the diet, all kinds of things. I love talking to Dr. Linda, but first, you know me, I have all kinds of information to share. I want to tell you my website, babyinstructions.com. You know, I say every week I put all kinds of things. I put tips and articles and everything. And if you're having an issue with it, we are doing some work, and that should clear up very shortly, hopefully in the next couple of days. You can also try babyinstructions.net. But again, I'm sorry if there's any confusion if you can't get on the website. So hopefully it'll be fixed by the end of the day. Also, as always, the weather. Oh, just so beautiful here. I love this time of year, and we have so many things going on in Scottsdale. We have the Barrett-Jackson car auction, and then we have the famous Waste Management Golf Tournament. Oh, what a name. You know, the Waste Management Company sponsors it, but I think they should change the name. That golf event brings in over 100,000 people every year, so it's so great for the economy. And I know I am excited that we've had beautiful weather because so many of you have such ice cold weather. And I was watching this morning in Iowa, what a snowstorm in the wind. And for any of you that are coming to Arizona, I am going to keep saying I hope we stay in the 70s for you and you can get out of that terrible weather for a bit. But I am going to wish everybody sunny days, no snow, no wind. The recalls, there weren't any recalls that were pertinent to baby toddlers and families this week. For some older kids and some adults, but if you need to see the recalls, you can go to my website, babyinstructions.com. And again, if it's not working properly, go to cpsc.gov. They have all the recalls every day. Also, yesterday, there was a news snippet that showed, again, the model Giselle riding a four-wheeler with her one-year-old on her lap. No helmets. Yes, okay, she was riding slow. She was on a private beach, you know, just like we always do. All of us that have that private beach. Anyway, they showed this picture, and I have to say, I don't care how slow she was going. To take a one-year-old on a four-wheeler and neither one of you have a helmet, God forbid you hit something or, you know what, somebody comes by and they knock sand on you or whatever, I don't think it's safe. So if any of you have your opinions, you know I share mine and you'd like to call the show, the number here is 877-864-4869, or you can go to toginet.com and there's a chat line. You can type your question, but I love callers. I'd love to hear what you think about that. Also, there was another interesting little thing on the TV yesterday about babies and children being allowed in five-star restaurants. And one restaurant in particular, I think it was in Chicago, the chef was sort of in a uproar, but in a nice way, because I think there was a baby crying, and it said it took weeks to get a reservation to get into this restaurant. And the parents brought their child. And, you know, I'm on the fence with this because if you want to go out to dinner and you just don't have childcare, or maybe you're going out to dinner and it's not going to be an expensive dinner, you know, you have to teach the children how to behave in public. If it's a little baby, what I always say is do not take your baby out to dinner with you when they are hungry or when they're cranky because they need to sleep or maybe they're teething. But I'm on the fence because if you can afford to go to this wonderful five-star restaurant, I'm wondering if you can't afford to have a babysitter. But again, it's not my business, and everybody gets to choose what they want to do. I can tell you when my daughter, Lindsay, would go to the restaurants with us. I swear, if we ever went to a nice restaurant, my dad used to live in New York, and we'd visit him, and he'd take us to these beautiful restaurants. And the maitre d', which they probably wouldn't do now, would be carrying my daughter in her little frilly dress around the restaurant so we could eat, because she was a pistol in a restaurant. And looking back, maybe I should have never taken her in there. But anyway, that was pretty interesting. Also, I want to share another article about kids love tablets. Maybe too much. The health experts say social development trumps app time. You know, it says 3-year-olds can master tablets. They don't have to know the letters or the numbers. They can just swipe their fingers across, and they know sometimes these little ones know how to turn on the tablets and the computer better than we do. But because this is so new, it says some experts note there's no evidence that screen time, whether TV or tablet, provides any educational or developmental benefits for babies and toddlers. Yet it takes away from activities that do promote brain development, such as non-electrical toys and adult interaction. And they've also seen that too much screen time has been linked to behavior problems and delayed social development in some of the older kids. You know, I'm going to say what I always say, and this article also hits this point. The single most important thing for children is time with parents and caregivers. Nothing is more important in terms of social development. You know, I've said this, and I believe it. The best present you can give your child is your presence, presence, because that one-on-one, you know, it's so important. But again, there's another paragraph by Jill Bubin. She's the Dean of School of Education in Connecticut, and she says the more children understand technology before they start school, the more comfortable they feel when they enter the class. But again, even the best educational apps must be monitored. And she recommends no more than 30 minutes of tablet usage at a time. Well, you know, yes, there are wonderful apps. And if you are going to let your little one use your tablet or teach them, sit down with them. You know, do the color apps with them, the ABCs, the numbers, the counting, the games where there's things that are hidden they have to find, and it's great for the memory. So I just wanted to share that. And let's see, what else do we have before I introduce Dr. Linda? Well, if you're new to the show, you know, I want to let you know that I try and share tips for my newest books every week. Help My Baby Came Without Instructions and Help My Toddler Came Without Instructions. So today I'm going to be sharing tips from Help My Baby Came Without Instructions in the chapter called I'm a New Mom and Don't Know What to Do, Survival 101, Learning How to Take Care of Yourself, because Dr. Linda and I are going to talk all about that. So first tip, you know what? This is really important. The most important thing at all for parents, for moms especially, don't forget to eat. You need energy to take good care of your baby, toddler, children. It's like a car. Without the fuel, your car just won't run. And we all have smartphones, tablets. Set your alarm for every 3 or 4 hours and just have a healthy snack. You know, peanut butter and apple, a handful of nuts, a hard-boiled egg. Whatever it is you like, you have to keep that energy up. And if you work full time, take snacks to work so you don't eat all those donuts and the candy out. Also, it's a fact of life. You're going to be up all hours of the night feeding the baby. So you know what? It's really tough. If you get up, I used to turn on the comedy channel or a funny movie, and you know what? By the time the baby went back to sleep, I was in a great mood, even though I was exhausted. Also, my third tip from this chapter is, while everyone is really excited about meeting your new little bundle, don't be afraid to say, no, you know what, thank you, I would love to see you, but no visitors today. Make sure you're ready to handle visitors at your house. It's okay to say no. You are the boss. So those are the tips from Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. And let me tell you a little bit about my guest. Her name is Dr. Linda Clever, and she is just wonderful. She's been on our show before. I love having Dr. Linda on. She is a specialist in internal medicine and occupational medicine. She received both undergraduate and medical degrees from Stanford and did further training there. She's a member of the Institute of Medicine of the National Academy of Sciences, clinical professor of medicine at UCSF, and founding chair of the Department of Occupational Health at California Pacific Medical Center. Her book is wonderful. It's called The Fatigue Prescription, 4 Steps to Renewing Your Energy, Health, and Life. Dr. Clever is also the founder and president of Renew, a fiscally sponsored project of community initiatives in San Francisco. Renew is aimed at helping devoted people maintain and regain enthusiasm, effectiveness, and purpose as they navigate the challenges of work and life. And boy, don't we have challenges. She's a dedicated walker and enjoys good company, good conversation. And I know why Linda and I click, because she loves good cookies too, and so do I. So, Linda, good morning. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy you could be on here at the first start of the new year. How are you?
Absolutely, absolutely terrific. And I'm delighted to be with you at a great time of year. And I just wanted to say, to me, because we're talking at some distance to each other, it sounds as if you are on a speakerphone, and I don't know if there is a switch to flip or if it always sounds that way. But I just wanted to mention that.
You know, we're going to break for commercial about a minute and a half, and I will have the producer check that. I'm glad you said it, because I don't know how everybody else hears me. Anybody want to call and tell me if you're listening out there in radio computer land? 877-864-4869. Call and let me know if you can't hear me. So
we can hear. It's just a little, speakerphony. At any rate, I wanted also to endorse the good weather idea, and I must say the strange thing here in California is that we are in a historic drought, and it is gorgeous, and you have to appreciate gorgeous. However, we would really count some rain as very, very gorgeous. And I think that that says something about life, is what's good sometimes is not good all the time. So at any rate, it's wonderful to be with you, and I really appreciate the advice that you give in your book and on air. The healthy snacks idea, and we're learning about healthy snacks kind of throughout the day. Maybe chocolate is a lift, and I must admit to loving it every so often. However, it turns out that unsalted nuts like walnuts are terrific on many levels, and you can mix them with some raisins, and you're set up for the day.
Linda, hold that thought, because we're going to have a break. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these. Finally, a show that supports women who are in the midst of a transition in midlife. The show is Second Wind. Here's what certified coach, author, and host of Second Wind, Joyce Buford, wants you to know.
It's so empowering for women to hear about other women and their accomplishments.
We all need cheerleaders, someone who's on our side.
Second Wind is that program to help women connect with other women, hear other women's stories.
In a stressful world,
find power in those stories.
Learn to discover your passions and joys again. Create the life you want to live to the fullest. Join us for Second Wind with Joyce Buford, Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Central, right here on the TogiNet Radio Network. Get ready for Wise Up Radio, leveraging your learning, leadership, and legacy with Donna Kimbrand, the Edgy Evolutionary, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, here on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you're an entrepreneurial leader or visionary, stay ahead of your game with insights, tools, and strategies that give you the thought leader's edge. Each week, join Donna and her guests as she'll ask the edgy questions, help you discover game-changing shortcuts to better thinking and learning, how to explore the ripple effects of leadership excellence, and how to create your life as a living legacy, where the legacy you leave is the life you live. As thought leaders, you need strategies to help you enjoy the confidence and thrill of riding the wave of rapid change. For more on Donna, check out her website, GameChangerThinking.com. Then join the conversation and sharpen up your wits on Wise Up Radio with Donna Kimbrand, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, here on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I'm so happy you could tune in this morning, and I hope you tune in to all our other great shows. TogiNet.com has wonderful shows. You have to take a look. The lineup, everything you ever wanted to know. So many great hosts. So anyway, that's my little Togi commercial. You have to hear this. Like many people, it's a continual struggle for me to find the right balance between doing good work in the world and enjoying my life. The irony was not lost on me many years ago when I locked myself in a room to finish writing a book, Love and Survival, about the healing power of love and community. The book was overdue, and they're not called deadlines for nothing. Well, that is from Dr. Dean Ornish, who wrote the foreword in Dr. Clever's book, The Fatigue Prescription, 4 Steps to Renewing Your Health, Your Energy, Health, and Life. And Dr. Linda says, tired, feeling pressed and underappreciated, low on energy, grumpy, often grumpy, sighing a lot, headachy, backache, losing your creative edge, on the edge, calendar of more of a wish list than a schedule. You know, we are just coming into after the holiday, and I am reading this directly out of her introduction from her book, and how true is that? Sometimes it's so tough to come back after the holiday. We've eaten poorly, we've had a great time, lots of drinks, lots of gifts, lots of fun. But now what? Are we let down? We have to go back to work. Our kids are off with their routine. They won't go to sleep when they used to. So, Dr. Linda, help!
You know, I think it's the same as you just said about it's okay to say no to visitors when you have a newborn. It turns out, or anybody, actually any time, it turns out that we have more power than we use. And so we can say, for example, I am going to think about the good parts of the holidays, and I am going to transfer the good parts of the holidays to now. And it really seems impossible to me that it's already the middle of January. Nonetheless, looking back to the holidays, I mean, one of the things that we can do so we don't feel let down is to think about what lifted us up about the holidays. What did we really love? And I think sometimes we think about gifts as, you know, tearing open the paper and, you know, blowing the horns and so forth and so on and emptying out the stockings or whatever it might be. However, there are really other kinds of gifts that we get from the holidays. And again, thinking back on any of the gifts that we got from the holidays, we have the power, we have the point, we have the decision ability to carry those forward. And some of the things that I think about the holidays, and Blythe, I know that you have a list too, but I think, you know, I saw some people over the holidays that I actually don't want to wait a year to see. Now, sometimes it's because people have to travel, but sometimes it's just that we get together at the neighbor's Christmas party or wherever it might be, or holiday party. However, well, I actually just had lunch with a friend the other day, and he said, you know, the 4 of us or the 6 of us, we don't have to wait 2 years in between getting together. We can actually do it much more frequently than that. And so the idea is, who did you see you really enjoyed, who's really an upper? Well, don't wait. Put them on the calendar. Call them up, email, whatever it is. Get them on the calendar. I think another thing that, as I think about the holidays, there's just some wonderful music that I love that it may be holiday music, but the basic principle is, what other music do I love to hear? And maybe I should be turning it on when I get home, or maybe I should be listening in the car instead of the news or whatever. So think about, you know, kind of a category of special music and take that forward. I had just 2 other thoughts, and then many, many others. But one.
I want to interrupt you for 1 second.
Yeah.
I want to say something about the music. I love music, and I have to tell you, whether I'm baking, whether I'm cooking, whether I'm just sitting someplace, I turn music on all the time because for some reason it just is uplifting. And I can't remember who I heard say this, but they said you should dance to one of your songs once a day, even if everybody's looking or nobody's looking, that it just makes you feel better. And it doesn't have to be Christmas music, but who says what the rule is? It can be Christmas music or whatever you like. So I am so happy you talked about the music. Just look how many people sing in the car. When you're driving, you see somebody singing, hopefully, and not on their cell phone.
It's true. And so music is an idea. Friends and family you usually don't see. That's another idea. And another one is a very good friend. Instead of giving gifts, and gifts are wonderful, we all know that, and some are surprisingly are superbly memorable and special. For example, I gave our daughter, who has almost 4-year-old twins today, right now, for the holidays, I gave her some Wonder Woman pajamas. And I'll tell you, they are into superheroes, and to have Mom have her own superhero outfit is really terrific. However, in addition, what my friend did is instead of giving gifts, material gifts, she took her grandsons to see the acrobats, and that was just so exciting for everyone. They'll be able to talk about that for years, or as long as anybody remembers. And when you think about the price of something, well, when you put all of the material gifts together, an acrobat show may not be much more expensive, or it could be a free show, or it could be going to the museum on Wednesday afternoon when it's free. But to be together at something that's different is also very a memorable kind of a thing to think about. What adventures did we have, and can we take the adventures? Can we do those in March? Can we do those in February? Can we do those in for a birthday instead of more and more paper and horn blowing? Not that that's bad. It's just the holidays give us a chance to have a holiday from the ordinary. And so what did we do that we loved, and what can we do throughout the year to do that? The other thing that I did want to say, and a million things because this is what you and I do,
Yes.
but to follow up on your point about time with parents and caregivers is the most important time that you can spend. And I just have to tell you a story, and it kind of brings tears to my eyes right now. One of the things we do on the holidays is we do tend to, whether it's at a meal or at maybe on an adventure or seeing family, we do pay attention to each other. We look at each other in the eye and so forth. Well, the story that it was on one of our beautiful California days when now we really wish we had some rain. But there was a darling little 3-year-old girl, and she had wings on. Of course, she had wings on, and she had stockings on, and she had really cute little sparkly shoes. And she and her mom were outside at a cafe, and they're having a little snack. And the little girl was talking to herself, and she was playing with her food. And I thought, and then I looked at the mom. The mom was on her iPhone. She wasn't looking at her little girl. She didn't glance at her little girl, and her little girl was sitting on the chair, kind of bouncing on her chubby little bottom, kicking her sweet little feet, talking to herself and playing with her food, and her mom was on the phone. And I just felt bad. And maybe it was a family emergency. She had to be on the phone. Well, it didn't look that way, but you can't always tell. So the point of the holidays is also when we're together and looking at each other and paying attention to each other, to take that throughout the year as well.
It's so important. And I'm sitting here listening to this story, and sometimes I have to say, it makes me sad, too, when I go to restaurants. Sometimes I want to go up to a parent. Of course, I'd never do this. It's not my business. But they're not paying attention to the kids. And they don't. And when they pay attention? When they spill something. Or when the water glass goes flying or something. And it's such a good time to be able to sit at the table and have that one-on-one, even though it is at a restaurant. I mean, I think they should ban cell phones in the restaurants. We didn't have them for years. I sound like an old-fashioned person because I do use my cell phone. But when I am out with somebody, unless it's an emergency or it's a business call that I know I have to take and I say it ahead of time, I don't sit there and text or look at my phone. I just, I think that we're not quite sure what the proper manners are. We may know, but I think we have to reevaluate what are good manners when you go out with somebody. Do you have to talk on your cell phone, and do you have to text? And when you talk,
the answer is absolutely is not. Somehow the world evolved, for 40,000 years, ever since the caves. We didn't have to do it. And I don't want to sound like a dinosaur either. However, I will go one step further, and this is really shocking. I don't see a particular reason for cell phones at any meal, whether you're home or out. There are just times we know that having meals together and sharing time together is one of the things that keeps kids in school, doing well in school, off drugs, wearing seatbelts, no, premature sex and so forth. And it is family meals that where people talk about how did your day go, what are your values, what are you going to be doing with that difficult teacher or bully or whatever. That's when we solve problems. It's not when we text with someone we may or may not know. The other thing that I wanted to say, one of the things about the holidays that can carry forward that along this line just kind of tickled me. We fell into telling stories about when our grand toddlers were babies. Do you want to hear the story about when you were a baby? And suddenly there are two pairs of eyes just fixed on whoever's telling the story. Would you like to hear a story about when Mommy was a baby, or when Mommy first went to school, or when Daddy first went to school, or when Daddy went on the adventure next to the stream, or when Granddaddy, when Poppy?
Linda, you know what? We have to break for commercial because we're going to talk more about this when we come back, and we will be talking to us, the two dinosaurs, when we come back that don't want cell phones at the table. So hang in there.
Right after these.
Baby love, my baby love, I need you, oh, I need you.
Join us every Monday at 10 a.m. Central for the Johnny Rowland News, Guns, and Motorsports radio show with commentary about current events, guns, shooting, and firearms issues, automotive and motorsports features, and special music presentations. Johnny is recognized as an international firearms authority and ballistic engineer, as well as an accomplished and widely recognized automotive designer and longtime TV and radio host. This program draws on Johnny's experience in shooting, motorsports, and as a professional entertainer-musician. Don't miss Johnny Rowland News, Guns, and Motorsports. Infotainment at its best. Trust us on this one. It's a fun show. Every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central, right here on the TogiNet Radio Network.
Connect with Juliana and connect with what lies beneath. Friday afternoons at 4, 3 Central on TogiNet.com. Juliana is certified as a life coach who wants people to connect. Connect with what lies beneath, those truths and answers. And through her counseling practice, she has helped others find their personal power and fulfill their dreams. And she wants to do the same for you here on Connect with Juliana. Through intimate discussions, intriguing subject matters, and the expertise of her guests. For more on Juliana and her show, check out her website, connectwithjuliana.com. Juliana will cover it all. Nothing is off limits. She wants to know what matters to you. Make the connection. Tune into TogiNet to connect with Juliana to find out the facts that could be hidden beneath the surface. Connect with Juliana on TogiNet to make a quality connection in your life. Friday afternoons at 4, 3 Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back. Excuse me. Excuse me 1 second. I need a drink. Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. You're here with the two dinosaurs, me, Blythe Lipman, the host, and my wonderful guest, Dr. Linda Hawes-Clever, the author of The Fatigue Prescription. And I'm calling us dinosaurs because we don't think you should have cell phones at the table when you go out to eat, at the house. You know, Dr. Linda, you were talking about memories, and you are so right. Before the break, we were talking about how kids love to hear about their parents when they were little, or even about themselves. You know, I remember as my children got older, they would go, "Tell me the time that this happened," or "Tell me again," and they want to hear it again and again and again. I mean, I bet your 4-year-old twins love to hear everything about your Wonder Woman daughter.
Well, it's true, and there are other things. Again, I think, and I think of people, for example, who are displaced, and we know there's so many refugees in the world these days, and it's such a great concern for the mommies and the daddies and the babies and so forth. Because one of the things that people want is they want to know something about their life, about their roots, about who they are, and it's the stories that we tell each other that become, you know, this family can make it through adversity. They got through this and they got through that. They got through the depression. They got through the drought. They got through the war. That's how people get fiber, is knowing something about, and even if it isn't their family, they still like to know that children can make it and people can get through and so forth. And, you know, and of course play and the time we went to the beach and all. I think memories are an important part of a person's life, and storytelling is terrific. Just like books are wonderful when reading to each other, books. You know, the other thing that we did over the holidays is played board games on boards. I mean, that kind, like Candyland and Chutes and Ladders. Because part of life is also, for example, getting some exercise. And when you're sitting on a chair or a sofa or a table or watching a screen, you're pretty much breathing, which is a good idea. However, when you're doing Chutes and Ladders or Candyland, you're actually moving around some. And so it's the advantage, you know, again, of doing sports as well as watching sports. And so, again, thinking about how to avoid the letdown and how to learn from the holidays, not just celebrate the holidays, but go forward, are some of these things that are pretty simple and completely enjoyable.
Remember Twister? Remember that game Twister? That used to be
exactly.
So much fun.
I have that in mind.
Really, Twister used to be fun. I have to say something before we go on. During the break, I was talking to my wonderful producer, Karina, who is in her 20s, and Dr. Linda and I were so happy because she said that her mother does not allow her to use the cell phone at the table and when she's eating, and that when she goes out with her friends, they don't take the cell phones out either, except maybe to check the time. So yay, Karina and Karina's mother. So I didn't want to not say that. And she's such a great producer. But, you know, things that you move around. Also, I have to say, I was at a dinner the other night, a couple weeks ago, and they had a tabletop game where they asked a question, and you really had to think what the answer was. You know, if you had a choice of, you know, getting $1 million or knowing you were going to stay healthy the rest of your life, you know, things like that really invoked your mind that you had to think. So there's all kinds of things to do to create these memories, and that's, you know what, that's what the holidays and that's what life's about. Because I know, talking to my children, I asked them once what they remember, if they remember a certain toy they got. And it was so funny because they really had to stop and think about a toy. And it wasn't the toy that they remembered. It was more of the things we did. Or, Mom, remember when you wore that and it looked really silly? Or, you know, when we went here and there. So also, I have to say, because this is a baby and toddler show, toddlers, babies, while they don't use their words, toddlers take everything in like a sponge. And you may think they're not watching you, but they are watching every move. You're the greatest role model. So even if you do something silly, they're going to remember it.
It's true. I think that what we're basically saying is that experiences matter, and it's worth thinking about. And again, thinking back to what did we do over the holidays, and then taking that forward into life, which is sharing and telling stories and doing new things, having adventures. And I must admit, one of the things that I really enjoyed, and I think many of us do, is one of the things about the holidays is that the routine isn't quite the same. And every now and then, you might get to sleep in. And I just wanted to endorse the idea, and we've talked about this before too, of, for example, getting enough sleep always. It turns out that people really need between 7 and 8 hours of sleep every day. And 7.5 may be okay. 7 probably is all right. 8 is really good. Much more than that, you might want to get a checkup. I mean, if you're sleeping 10 hours a day, that's probably not okay. However, every now and then the idea of sleeping in or staying in bed for a little bit longer and maybe reading the paper in bed or whatever you do on a day away or perhaps a weekend day, that's just it feels awfully nice to take care of yourself that way, so you can do that during the year, not just the holidays.
It really does, and I want to add to that, if you have little ones and you have a Saturday, take one Saturday a month and don't plan all your errands as soon as they get up. Let them stay in their jammies for 2 or 3 hours and just play with their toys or read books together or make a breakfast together. It's okay to change the routine for them in the morning once in a while too, especially if you all work full time and they go to a preschool. So it really helps. You're so right.
I absolutely agree that the pleasure of just doing something differently, and it says again something about human beings is we do enjoy that kind of adventure, and that's what life is. And so we kind of have to keep in mind about how to prepare people for the adventures ahead and the unexpected. One of the things that our daughter does that I just love talking about making meals together is she has a couple of really old cloth, though not plastic, but cloth tablecloths, and that's where they stir up their pancake batter on the floor. If something spills on the tablecloth, it just doesn't matter. You're going to roll it up and throw it in the wash anyway. And so instead of people climbing up on chairs and tipping things over and all that, all the cookie decorating and the making pudding or stirring the oatmeal or whatever happens on the tablecloth on the floor, and it's just made people are becoming chefs, and it's easy. I mean, when you break an egg and if it slops on the tablecloth on the floor, so what? That's what the washing machine's for.
That's right. You know what? And let your kids get dirty. It's fun. It's fun to put your hands in things or mix or whatever it is.
Absolutely. Another thing is, as we're talking about the next year doing things and so forth, I a couple of years ago got smart enough to write down, for example, how many cards to order for the next year instead of trying to remember. And I know more and more people are sending e-cards. However, a lot of people still send U.S. mail cards, which are, I think, a particular pleasure because you can just sit and read them at your leisure. But, how many cards did you order? If you give presents over the holidays, you can get them throughout the year. It doesn't have to be just that last-minute frantic everything in November and December. You can get things on sale throughout the year. You can, if you go to something at the 4th of July and you see something that's fun, that could be if you stuff stockings or have little gifts other times, get them then. And then it somehow takes the pressure off of you of having to do it all at once. Or you
It
can
does.
cook and
It
cook
does.
and freeze too.
Absolutely, and it does take the pressure off. But I do have to say, when you get those gifts ahead of time during the year, and Dr. Linda's so right, it makes it easier. Write down where you put them.
Oh, no kidding.
I know that I have done this forever, and sometimes I'll say, I know I bought this, but I can't find it anywhere. So then you have all this stress because you start taking things out of closets or wherever you happen to put them. What I finally did is I got a bag, and anything I bought, I had one bag in one place, and I knew if I bought anything ahead of time, that was where it was. I still had to remember where I put the bag, but it's only one place, so make sure you write that down.
And
yes.
if you have somebody in mind, you use one of those sticky notes and put their name on it because, life goes pretty fast. We all have things to do, and you have good ideas. The idea is how can we capture those good ideas and then benefit from them later on?
Oh, absolutely. I want to touch on this really quick because we're going to have a break again. I can't believe how fast this is. Also, you say don't send gifts to anyone who doesn't send a thank you note.
That's true.
I have to agree, but there's something else that comes into play here that occurred to me when I was thinking about this. How do you know? I mean, I love written thank you notes. When I get a gift, I still, here comes the dinosaur. I still write the thank you note. I don't send it online. But how do you know that the person didn't actually send you a thank you online? And, is that okay as long as you get the thank you? I mean, I like a phone call and a written card, but, that's just me.
Oh, yeah. I think thank you to me online is, it's okay. I prefer, again, back to the ages of the Tyrannosaurus Rexes here. I love getting U.S. post office mail. I like to know, for one thing, though, and I'm happy to know that the person got it if they send me an email. Got your great gift. Looking forward to reading it some light year or something. But at least I want to know that they got it, and so that's the courtesy of it as well as the thanks. Little kids can scribble, and you can send that here is her thank you note, and you send that to a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle or a neighbor across the way.
You know what? We have a commercial break, and when we come back, the two dinosaurs are going to talk about diet.
Okay.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
It's not just time for a change, is it? It's much bigger than that. Can you feel it? It's time for a transformation. Will you now imagine that you can and will transform your life? Will you suspend your disbelief and imagine that all things are not just possible, but probable? Imagine that you will meet guides, mentors, and trusted friends who believe in you, hold your hand as they point the way, and teach you to trust your own wisdom. The first of these friends is spiritual girlfriend Gail Carruthers. Gail will show you how to believe. Believe your perfect divine wisdom will reveal your worthiness. Believe that knowing your power will open your boundless courage. Courage to live consciously, fearlessly, and joyfully. And then know all these things are already here and waiting for you to bring them into your divine life. She is here to help you discover, believe, and know. So join Gail, your spiritual girlfriend, every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
In the annals of recorded history, there has never been anything that can compare to home movies. But now, in this modern era, where do you turn for the best information? Right here. It's the Home Movie Legacy Project, hosted by Rhonda Vigent. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central here on the Rockstar Radio Network. Learn how to organize, digitize, share on social media, use as genealogy research, repurpose, or even monetize found footage. Discover ways to find films about your own family that you didn't even know existed. Or create a documentary that can use the power of home movies to deliver a message that can impact the lives of many. For more on Rhonda and the show, go to our website, homemovielegacy.com. Then be here as the journey continues with the Home Movie Legacy Project with Rhonda Vigent. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central here on the Rockstar Radio Network. Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. The hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. We are up to the last part of the show. It goes so quickly. And I'm talking to Dr. Linda Clever, and we're talking about how to get back into the routine and how to make your holidays easier next year, and just so much to talk about with Dr. Linda. I wish we had another hour. But what I want to do, I had a question yesterday, and the question was, because Linda has this terrific book called The Fatigue Prescription, 4 Steps to Renewing Your Energy, Health, and Life, and I have it right here in front of me. I love this book. It has things, it has so many pages turned down, because I always look at it. Anyway, the question was, as a grandparent, you're not used to running around after the little ones. How do you do it? How do you keep up your energy without saying, yes, I love chocolate and I'm going to eat that, but then you get the high and then you get the low, and we need some tips for this, Grandma.
Well, I think that I wish there were an easy answer. The fact is, as people get older, and of course there are, 40-year-old grandmothers, and there are 75-year-old grandmothers, and so, and there's quite a difference there. The thoughts that I have about it, and this is speaking as a grandmother and also as a physician, one, it does have to do with getting into shape, and you're right, we're not accustomed to running around. And if we knew that we were going to be on grandparent duty, it would really be a very good idea specifically to get out and get some exercise ahead of time and get some fitness going for us. It never hurts to be fit. So if it's possible, if you know that they're going to be coming to town or you're going to be going to their town and it's going to be for, a few days or a week or two, it's good to get some extra exercise, number one. Number two, I think we do have to acknowledge as people get older, there really is an energy difference. And so it may be that if you're going to be on duty as 1 or 2 grandparents or aunts and uncles, whatever it might be, and the kids, however old they are, young or older, are going to be with you for a while, more than a day or two, you may want to get help. I mean, parents get babysitters. Why shouldn't grandparents get babysitters for the kids? 3 is to do some research ahead of time of what's going on around town. Let's say they're coming to visit. And again, this could be throughout the year. What's going on that you wouldn't be paying attention to normally. Lay in a supply of things that kids can do that are quiet, because it doesn't have to be 100% activity. Find a lot of neighborhoods these days have neighborhood emails. Find out what's going on in terms of playgrounds and so forth and so on. And even if you're going to a different area, you may want to find out about the playgrounds there. Sometimes families go somewhere else for vacation. You're not at A or B, you're at C. Well, that's what school districts are for, or chambers of commerce. Find out what you might be doing. The other thing is, I really do think that given the energy differences as people tend to get older, I think we have to acknowledge that we may need some more sleep, and there may be less that we do. The house, just like with a newborn, the house does not have to pass inspection from somebody with white gloves. You don't have to clean up after, every activity. You don't have to do the wash every day. It's a time when you have to think, we try to think, what's best for everybody. And cleanliness, although it's next to godliness, may not be next to sanity when you're taking care of kids that you're not accustomed to. So
I love that you said that, because we're back to what we were talking about before, memories. You know what? The kids remember what they do with their grandparents. My grandfather used to take myself and 2 friends horseback riding as I got old. And that's what I remember. And, I'm sure he cleaned up and my grandmother cleaned up, but that's not what I remembered.
It's true. And with my grandmother, I remember gardening and, making jelly. And this is, of course, as a little bit older child. However, I also remember how she used to chase me around the dining room table, and I was maybe 4 or 5, and she was a coyote, and I was getting away from the coyote, and I remember that. And, of course, then that's part of the story that I tell our grand-twins, and then they say, well, tell us more about coyotes. Tell us more about, great-grandmommy and being a pioneer in Eastern Washington State and so forth. So, first of all, it doesn't have to be fancy. Second of all, we do have differing amounts of energy. And at the same time, we do have different stories and different wisdoms that we can impart. And I guess the fourth I would say is, insofar as it's possible to prepare our bodies with plenty of sleep and with some exercise ahead of time, those might help. And to admit the reality that sometimes, in fact, we're going to sit them down in front of a screen of something, and we might take a nap.
If that's okay, I want to add one more thing to that. If you ahead of time if you're going to do an overnight with your grandchildren, ask mom if she can arrange a play date at somebody else's house.
Yes.
If they do play dates, if the kids are old enough. I mean, that's always good to have a break. And when you have that break, if you're a grandma, grandpa, don't spot clean the entire house. Like Dr. Linda says, sit down and take a nap or have a cup of coffee or whatever it is to give you back your energy. And don't underestimate power naps. 15, 20-minute power nap, I'll tell you what, you feel like a new person. At least I do. So
I think that's absolutely true. Yeah, I think the thing is to acknowledge reality and get help. And again, the play date is a wonderful thing. It has to be a babysitter, whatever. And power naps absolutely work. And part of it is, it also means to yourself that you have some power over yourself. You're not hostage to people who are 1/10 of your age or something like that.
Power. You know what?
Still have.
A power nap gives you power. No, you're right. You're not a hostage. We're getting towards the end of the show, and really quickly, I want to talk about diet, because everybody goes on a diet after the first of the year. We have about 2 minutes. And you know what? Diets, we're all on a diet, and then 3 weeks later, we're not on a diet. And I know for myself, as soon as that D word's in my head, I want to eat everything in the house. So let's talk about how to stay healthy and eat healthy all the time.
Yeah, well, I think that's right up next to the millennium or something like that. So that doesn't seem like that's going to happen, but it does make sense to try to have, for example, next holiday, and this is you're making a list of things to do. Next holiday is have only one of everything. You have one cookie, you have one hors d'oeuvre, you have even one stick of celery, so that there's not so much payback afterwards. The thing about a regular diet really has to do with eating small amounts of good food for you, and that means skim things, not 2%, not 1%, not whole milk. You can put some different kinds of even you can put some chocolate in, but the fat is what gets you. Fat has 9 calories per gram. Sugar only has 4 calories. So if you're really thinking about weight, you want to be very careful with that. And I know that there are different advice about that, but I'm just telling you what the numbers are.
Well, you know what? Thank you for doing that. I want to make sure you can tell my listeners where to get your book, and I want them to know how to find you, because we're gonna run out of time, and that's really important. And if we have a few more minutes, we'll go back to diet.
Okay, well, the Renew, which is a not-for-profit that I started, is at renewnow.org, all one word, renewnow.org. And the Fatigue Prescription has its website, which is the Fatigue Prescription, all one word, .com. And you can tune into what's going on there. The Fatigue Prescription is available at your independent bookstore and your chain bookstore and Amazon, and it's on Kindle and it's on audio. So there are all different kinds of ways, and you can contact us, and you can do it through the email, and it's terrific.
And it's great. Well, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to talk more about diet because the show's going to end in just a couple minutes. Dr. Linda, thank you so much for being on the show. I can't wait till you come back. And it's such wonderful information. Dr. Linda's information is already on my website, babyinstructions.com, which hopefully will work by the end of the day. So thank you so much. I hope you do get rain in California, but keep it out of Arizona until after the golf tournament for all our visitors. So
you've got a deal. Thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and I look forward, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Thanks, Dr. Linda. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What a great show. Dr. Linda always has such wonderful tips. I just love having her on. My guest next week will be Dr. Ann Zachary. She's the author of another fabulous book called Retro Baby. Cut back on all the gear and boost your baby's development with 100 time-tested activities. This is a terrific book. And, you know, we talk about doing one-on-one things with your children, with your babies. You're going to love this book. You're going to love Dr. Zachary. So it's going to be a wonderful show. And I want to tell you again about my newest project that I'm so excited. I will be launching a new site called bestparentingadvice.com, which will answer all your baby and toddler questions. It's going to be a question and answer format, Dear Mary Poppins, but it's going to be Dear Blythe. And you'll be able to send me your questions, and it will be coming soon. And Dr. Linda is going to be a professional to weigh in on my site, so I will keep you posted when that is up and ready to go. Very excited about that. Also, don't forget to like me on Facebook at Baby Instructions. Follow me on Twitter. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on LinkedIn. I try to update all the time. I love sharing pictures with everybody. So if you go on Facebook, you will see lots of different pictures. So don't forget to do that. And I want to leave you with these little gems that just really cracked me up. Calories, the tiny creatures that live in your closet and sew your clothes a little bit tighter every night. And here is my favorite. Once you lick the frosting off a cupcake, it becomes a muffin. And muffins are healthy, so you're welcome. Thanks for tuning in today. You have a great rest of the week. I hope your weather is beautiful and everything melts. So I will see you next time. Bye-bye.